This is going to be the last question.
Dr. Shapiro, on August 28, 2003, in an article on townhall.com, in which you analyzed the rise of gay and lesbian studies in college, you said, if you pay tuition, you're sponsoring the militant homosexual agenda. If you pay taxes, you're sponsoring the militant homosexual agenda. If your child majors in English, you're sponsoring the militant homosexual agenda. Tell Bailey to major in math. So I guess my question is, earlier you were talking about grouping and how liberals do grouping.
Yes.
Would you say that this is an example of grouping and therefore you're kind of crossing the boundary into a liberal?
No, and I will explain why. When you use my taxpayer dollars for stuff I don't approve, then it's sponsoring a particular agenda. And it turns out that in the state of California, which now has a law on its books, for example, that suggests that we have to teach gay and lesbian history in schools, that is in fact an agenda. It turns out, see, here's the thing, that one of the things that annoys me, is the idea that people are unbiased. Everybody's biased, okay? I'm honest enough to recognize that I'm a conservative. Well, you'll hear from a lot of teachers, in this school and others, you'll hear that they're objective representatives of the truth. That isn't true. Everybody has their bias, everybody has their politics. I'm just honest enough to admit my bias in politics. When it comes to the number of, the idea that the state is sponsoring particular viewpoints, failing to recognize that the state sponsors a variety of viewpoints, including what I think is certainly accurately termed a militant homosexual agenda when it comes to the idea that you are going to teach in schools, specifically gay and lesbian history, which is now mandated by state law. Yeah, that's sponsoring an agenda. And again, the state sponsors lots of agendas. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to run away from something that I wrote and agree with.
What's inappropriate about saying that there are been homosexuals that have been persecuted, or that homosexual men and women have contributed positively to...
There's nothing negative in saying that homosexuals have been persecuted or that homosexuals have contributed positively, but I don't think the important thing about Leonardo da Vinci is that he liked dudes. I think the important thing about Leonardo da Vinci is his contribution to Western civilization. And I think that has very little to do with where he wanted to put his genitals.
So where does it rise to militancy then?
Where does it rise to militancy? It rises to militancy when you start grouping people based on their sexual orientation without any reference to their actual contribution to the culture. Okay, the fact is that the contributions of Leonardo da Vinci had nothing to do with his proclivity for people of the same sex. Just as, Abraham Lincoln's sexual proclivities had nothing to do with his contributions.
But we're not talking about, in California, we make mention of Stonewall, we make mention of Harvey Milk, we make mention of positive people pursuing civil rights. Okay,
first of all, again, your definition of civil rights includes, for example, same-sex marriage, which is a very hot-button political topic, still in California. Okay, the idea that that's not an agenda is, of course it's an agenda. I mean, do you acknowledge it's an agenda?
Absolutely.
So it's certainly an agenda, right? You don't think it's militant, and I do, that's all.
By the way, the notion that our educators do not have objectivity, I'll be the first one that my students know that I have a particular agenda.
Well, I appreciate your
however, I also appreciate everyone here that's willing to listen to multiple ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, and objective.
Well, I appreciate you.
It's highly important to listen to different ideas, even when you disagree. Mr. Shapiro and I would never agree on most things.
I appreciate you coming anyway.
But I think that everyone should form their own opinions after having listened to multiple points of view, and that we should be allowed to express those, even when we disagree, and that two people can disagree in a polite, respectful manner, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
So,
That's it. Thanks so much, guys.